appreciation for doing this practice today.
Boo. Teach me how to Anki. No, like I genuinely think that's what their team name is. How's dissection?
Wait, hang on. Yeah, I gotta like think of something to say. I can't just. You can't get me on the spot like this.
Nah, dude, this is
Beautiful.
beautiful.
The anatomy of the brain is gorgeous.
What's your favorite part of the brain?
The cerebellum.
Cerebellum is beautiful.
The tree of life, some might say.
It looks cool. It doesn't even look real. We have a sea anemone in our head. So let me preface this video with the statement that I don't like doing study videos or study tip videos. And there's a reason for that. Most of the internet, you'll probably find the, oh, how I study for 12 hours, 10 hours plus straight and everything. You know, I'm sure you've heard the term hyper-productivity culture. And especially within pre-med and med schools, like, it's just rampant. You know, and a lot of them, you end up feeling pretty inadequate if you don't end up doing what they're doing. I know I felt it personally, and even I've done a couple like how I study videos, and I hated every single second of making them, but I did it because I thought it would look good on like the channel, and I've learned my lesson from there. But throughout all those videos, there is a single common denominator that I believe is the true key to success, whether you are in your didactic years or your clinical years, and it'll be a skill that you will carry on far beyond medical school. And that common denominator is, because I only think in memes, that. But more importantly, adaptation. Medical school is broken up into blocks, or what we call jail cells, modules. And these modules are on different topics. For example, I just started my brain and behavior or neuro and psych module. But besides just material, each module differs on the way they assess us, what kind of questions they ask on our weekly assessments, etc., etc. At the beginning of each module, which at the time of me filming this, I'm in my second week, there's always this little like nervous trial run everybody goes through to kind of play test how they want to examine us and what questions they want to ask, what kind of material they want to emphasize, you know, that kind of stuff. And a part of that process is figuring out the best ways to study. Again, going back to why I don't like those kind of generic blanket type how you're supposed to study videos. To highlight a past example, I'm gonna go back to my cardiopulmonary heme module where I was having a conversation with one of my roommates, and it kind of went like this. He was complaining he had about like 300 new Anki cards due the night before a quiz, and for a lot of people, 300 may not sound a lot, but for those of you who know Anki, 300 new cards the night before a quiz is not fun. And I was like, why are you doing that? And he said, well, I need to know this certain pathway by tomorrow, on top of the other like 12 lectures we had at the beginning of the week. I asked him if it was working. He said no. And I asked him if he was using the flashcards as his primary source of learning, besides using them as supplemental and assessment type style for the lecture material and the material learned through supplemental materials. And he said, yeah. I again asked, is it working? And he said, no. So at the time, I kind of told him how I was studying, which was using the supplemental materials as well as lectures. And by supplemental materials, I mean like step one board resources and stuff that really highlight the key points, and then go back to my flashcards to kind of mini assess myself throughout the week. And, you know, I explained to him that was working for me, but basically I was using a study method that was working for me. It helped save me time, stress, and sleep. But you know what he did? He continued going with his study strategy, complaining more, and getting less sleep. Given this dude is literally one of the smartest people I have ever known, he was alright. But I think it highlights a common issue that all students, whether you're in medical school or not, really have to struggle with all the time. of smart people, I'm gonna include myself in this, we have an issue of stubbornness, I would say. Like, we really don't want to change our ways very easily. And I think that's something, if you are pursuing like the medical field, you'll probably feel this too. But this is also why like I don't enjoy those like how I hyper productive myself, you know, because everybody is different. And for some people, and myself included, those videos may not be accurate like years or even like months from the time they uploaded it. For example, these how I study video I made like at the beginning of my M1 year, that is not how I study now. Like, every block changes and you have to adapt to what works best for you depending on the material. But the most important part of that is that you actually, you know, swallow your pride and make that change. I realize that neuro is absolutely kicking my butt right now, and I wanted to better understand some of the tracks, the pathways, in particular some of the basal nuclei pathway that is involved, like the direct to indirect pathways that are involved within Parkinson's disease. So instead of just sitting here going, why don't I have anything? Why am I not like fully digesting this? I said, okay, let me figure out a way to better incorporate that into my learning. And for me, that was purchasing a whiteboard. And now I'm gonna be able to draw the pathways on this board, and that'll help me learn effectively. But I had to make that decision of what I'm currently doing is not working, so let me do something to change it. And that all comes back to what I said about adaptability. That is the key to success in med school, in workplace, whatever student you are right now, that is how you survive. Life and your teachings are gonna throw you curveballs, and your current study regimen is not gonna work for every single one of them. But it takes some maturity to admit, hey, things are not working, and it takes a little bit of a leap of faith to do something different. And if that doesn't work, change it up again. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. When I first started med school, I was watching all lectures and I did okay. The next block, MSK, it was a little bit different. I had to search for more like anatomy resources, which I got through Anatomy Bootcamp, a great supporter of this channel, link in the description. When I got to CP Heme, I did not use Anki that much, which I regretted a little bit, and that's part of the learning process. And I was doing kind of a Pathoma, Sketchy, and Anki hybrid. Last block, I didn't watch lecture at all, and I was only going through Anki and my external resources. See, like, it varies. When I can't make a video on how to study in med school because it changes so often, and that's something that a lot of people don't really highlight when they make those how I study for 18 hours plus straight. Don't get me wrong, studying in med school is a lot, but there's a way to do it smart, and it's different for everyone. Change with the times. Bottom line, improvise, adapt, overcome. And you know, you've heard the term, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is broke, do something to fix it. Sorry, it's not the, you know, end all be all quick pill to do well in whatever you do, but it's the truth. Don't be afraid to switch things up, connect them neurons, and study hard. That's all I got for you.